Hey ghouls, I'm horror comedy author DM Guay, and it is time to reveal the top 10 horror comedy movies maybe of all time. The fiends over in my Facebook group, DM Guay's Horror Comedy Crypt, held a vote. You fiends voted for more than 100 movies, but only a few could rise to the top. Finally, the votes are tallied, and here are the results. Number 10, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice! Oh man, I was kind of hoping he'd show up.
Didn't have to, but you picked me. It makes me want to kiss you guys. Come on, come on.
I mean, if you guys didn't put this movie on the list, I would have had to break up with you. This movie has been on repeat at my house ever since it came out. It is a flawless horror comedy that follows the recently deceased Maitlands as they have to learn to live with the Dietzes, the weird New York art family that just moved into their farmhouse.
It's showtime.
Number 9 is Bubba Hotep. I'm so proud of you ghouls for putting this one on the list. This is one of my all-time favorite horror comedies. Bubba Hotep is adapted from the Joe R. Lansdale novella of the same name. And when I say adaptation, I mean it is literally almost word for word from the book to the script. And thank God, because it is absolutely glorious.
I'll be damned if I let some foreign graffiti-writing, soul-sucking son of a bitch in an oversized cowboy hat and boots take my friends' souls and shit them down the visitor's toilet.
Elvis Presley, who is still alive and is elderly and is living in a nursing home, and he has to team up with the current embodiment of JFK, John F. Kennedy, who has been brain transplanted into the body of an old black man, and the two of them have to team up to save the residents of their nursing home from a mummy that's coming in at night and sucking old people's souls out through their butthole. I mean, you can't top that, right? Number 8, What We Do in the Shadows, the movie. Who doesn't love this? This New Zealand documentary has given us all so much. It's given us a What We Do in the Shadows TV show. It's given us the Wellington Paranormal TV show. It's given us Jermaine Clement as Vladislav the Poker, and that part where he can't get the faces right with the cat. It gets me every time. Number 7 is John Dies at the End. You ghouls actually surprised me with this one, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I shouldn't be so surprised, because it is the adaptation of the book John Dies at the End by Jason Pargin. And I know you ghouls love books, and I know you ghouls love movies, and you love books to movies, but I have to admit I have never actually seen this movie, so you guys added it to my to-watch list. Number 6, Little Shop of Horrors. I am so glad I am not the only one who loves this movie, because I love this movie so hard. Like, so hard. It is a near perfect horror comedy about a man-eating plant from outer space.
Feed me now!
If that doesn't sell you, you need to get on up, get on out of here, because Little Shop of Horrors is the story of Seymour. He is a down-and-out orphan who works in a flower shop on Skid Row. He's broke, nothing is going his way, until he finds a strange and unusual plant after a total eclipse of the sun. And it's a musical. Number 5, Young Frankenstein. Or is it Frankenstein?
You must be Igor.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
Young Frankenstein is a comedic retelling of the Universal Frankenstein movie by comedy legend Mel Brooks, who also gave us Spaceballs and Blazing Saddles. It has a hilarious all-star cast and the kind of jokes that never go out of style. So all I have to say to you ghouls who voted for this movie is taffeta, darling.
Taffeta, sweetheart.
Number 4, Army of Darkness. I mean, that shop smart, shop S-smart scene in the end, I mean, that's enough to carry a movie right there, right?
Hail to the king, baby.
In case you don't know, Army of Darkness is number 3 in the original Evil Dead series, and it follows our one-handed hero, Ash Williams, after he gets sucked into that vortex at the end of Evil Dead 2, and he is dropped in a medieval world full of deadites, where the chicks are hot but get ugly real fast. If you voted for this,
Give me some sugar, baby.
right there. Number 3, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This movie has so quickly become a cult classic, and for good reason. It turns all of the classic rednexploitation and slasher and teenagers camping in the wood tropes of horror upside down, and they do it so well. Tucker and Dale are written and played so sweet and so sincerely, and the story is so well structured that, I mean, it's perfect. Tucker and Dale are best friends who go to their cabin in the woods planning on a very relaxed weekend of home renovation and fishing, but instead run into a bunch of teenagers who keep killing themselves spectacularly on their property. Number 2, Zombieland. Like Tucker and Dale, this is another movie that takes the classic horror tropes and gives them a new spin. And in this case, it's the rules you have to follow in order to survive a zombie apocalypse. And I get it, I really do, because every single horror fan everywhere, including me and including you, has thought about how they're going to survive a zombie apocalypse. Every house I go in, I'm looking, like, if the zombie apocalypse started right now, how am I getting out of here? What am I going to eat? Which doors can we barricade? Like, we've all thought it. Once you've seen so many horror movies, you can't help but do it. And Zombieland just lays out all the rules for us. Zombieland follows 4 survivors as they travel cross country and looking for safe haven, and they end up at Bill Murray's house.
Bill Murray, you're a zombie?
Which, if that doesn't sell you, do you even like comedy? Really? Okay, ghouls, before we get to the number 1 movie, we need to stop and give out some props to the movies that got a lot of votes, but just missed the top 10. I mean, you ghouls voted for more than 100 movies, so you knew that some awesome ones weren't going to quite squeak to the top. But these ones, they got a lot of votes, they got a lot of love, but they just missed it. And honestly, some of my favorites are in this bunch. So it is time for our honorable mentions. Evil Dead 2. I'm looking at you because this is my number 1 movie, but for you ghouls, it was only number 11. Really? Oh well. What am I going to do? You ghouls have spoken. Alright? I'm judging you. Okay? But anyway, Evil Dead 2 is the story of Ash Williams, who takes his girlfriend to a cabin, and all is going well until he turns on a tape player and unleashes the Deadites. The Deadites kill his girlfriend, kill a hillbilly, kill a guy who then went on to have a career selling stuff on a home shopping network.
Kind bars, great kind bars, flavorful kind bars, chocolate kind bars.
Kills an archaeologist's daughter who was really good at translating foreign languages, and makes Bobby Joe eat an eyeball. Poor Bobby Joe. Where are you, girl?
Bobby Joe!
And then at the end, poor Ash gets sucked into the vortex, which then drops him in our number 4 movie, Army of Darkness. I mean, number 11. Like, really? Okay. Whatever. You ghouls have spoken. It's not up to me. I didn't get to pick. I love you guys. Still. I'm just going to be mad at you for a little bit. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I mean, the title says it all. Almost. It doesn't say the part about they're going to eat you and they're going to wrap you up in giant balls of cotton candy first. But now you know.
Of course it is. Look.
I'm sure I wasn't the only ghoul here who was super excited when Spirit Halloween released the toys and the Killer Klowns costumes and the Killer Clown yard decor for Halloween. Oh my god. Like, I wanted all of it. This movie kind of disappeared for a while, and I'm glad that it's back and it's gotten cult comedy status because it's really funny, and honestly, the effects are really well done, so I wholeheartedly agree with this one. Trick or Treat. I'm actually happily surprised that you ghouls gave this movie so much love. I feel like it gets a little bit overlooked, but it is a horror anthology movie that's set in Ohio. That's where I live. The people in each of the stories run into Sam, who is a demon who looks like a little kid who's out for trick or treat. Bad things happen to them when they break the rules of Halloween. But you ghouls would never do that, right? You'd make it to the end of the movie alive. Idle Hands. You ghouls love this movie way more than I thought you would. But then again, it's one of those movies that's super fun because it's completely ridiculous. And that's totally our thing, isn't it? I mean, that's literally our thing. So Idle Hands is the story of a stoner kid whose hand goes on a killing spree, even after he detaches it.
I cut off my hand, and it's gonna kill you all. No, it's true. His hand killed us yesterday.
That was a close one. Return of the Living Dead. You know, I'm actually surprised this one didn't get more votes. This is a horror comedy classic with a sweet, sweet, totally sweet punk rock soundtrack. But it's more than that. It's also the very first time we saw zombies that ate brains. Zombies that couldn't be killed or couldn't be killed with a shot in the head. It also gave us Tarman and Linnea Quigley dancing naked on a tombstone, and Don Calfa as Ernie the Undertaker, whose best friend, the warehouse owner, is named Bert. Seriously, Bert and Ernie are in this movie. If you haven't seen this movie before, I hope that you will see this, and I hope you will go and watch it, and I hope you love it as much as I do. It's one of my all-time favorite horror comedy movies. It is time for number one. You ghouls voted, and I listened. Number one, Shaun of the Dead. It's a solid choice. Yeah. Shaun is a sweet guy who's going nowhere, and his girlfriend dumps him the same day the zombie apocalypse starts. So he has to battle hordes of zombies to save her and win her love. Shaun of the Dead is a buddy comedy, it's a romantic comedy, and it was a zombie film, and it mixed all of those tropes together seamlessly into something fresh and new at the time. It's really well done. It's held up. It's very funny. So kudos to you ghouls. Excellent taste. All right, that's it, ghouls. Thank you so much for voting. Thank you for being part of my Facebook community, DM Guay's Horror Comedy Crypt. Thank you so much for reading my books and for all of your support for all of these years. It really means the world to me. You have no idea. So that's it for today. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time. Creep it real.